Good morning. Welcome to the Simple Living live stream with me, Simply Lesa. Good morning, Iris and Mary and George and Tammy. How are you guys doing this morning? Um, I guess I can't do that. Okay. Don't mess with the phone. My signal has been sketchy this morning, so let's hope it holds out and isn't too much of an issue. How's everybody doing this morning? Can you hear me okay? Because I am talking a little softer. And what's up with my eye looking so black? It's not soot. I know it's not soot because I just washed my face. Uh, Good morning, Catherine. Good, good, good. Wonderful, everybody. So I have a bottle of water close by. I don't love little plastic bottles, but I needed it for some reason. I don't remember, so I have a few. And I have a little fan running close by. It's not that warm. It's 75 inside right now. What's it outside? Oh, it's 81 or 82 outside. And good morning, Jeremy. Um, Jeremy, I kind of miss how cool it was when you were liking on me and everything. And I kind of miss that conversations, phone calls, and whatever else. But I know you're busy and you've had a lot of family stuff. So, um, Wendy's outside. Last I checked, I don't know if she's still there, but last I checked, she was laying underneath of the car. And last I checked, the kittens were, I forget, napping in a inside a laid over plant pot. Um, they're all getting along so wonderfully. Um, I to test the way Wendy plays with the kittens. I checked by putting my hand in her mouth between her and the head of one of the kittens. Sometimes when she's playing with the kittens, she kind of grabs them around their neck or by the head or by an ear. And I know it's kind of puppy play, and she seems very motherly. These are lead in comments, by the way. Good morning, Donna R. Because I know while people are coming in, I can give you some of these kind of updates. So, for children stuff, um, so I stuck my hand in when she was playing with them the other day just to double check because I get nervous that where she does kill rodents, that maybe she's gripping them hard. Oh my goodness, such a gentle tug at them. So I can relax a little bit. They're playing together wonderfully. And if any of you are in the Facebook group for Keep Living Simply or Simple Living or whatever I called it, um, then you would have seen the pictures of them napping together in the same chair a couple of days ago. So that happens a lot more lately. Um, so, uh, I could give you a health update before we get into the whole thing, give people a few more minutes to come in and say good morning. So, on a health update side, I went ahead because of finances, and it just feels like everything's so much more expensive. I think it is for everybody. I don't think it's just me, but it feels like it's just me, but that's, pretty human thing to do. Um, I decided to go ahead and get a food box this month from the food bank in St. John's, which is Apache County's county seat. And also, I decided to pay the $15 and get a produce box. Now, y'all know I've been carnivore or animal diet for about a year and a half now. And I did really well on carnivore, but I didn't see the kind of healing that I wanted to see. It doesn't mean it wasn't working. Then I understood that maybe the pain I was feeling, because a lot of mornings I was waking up with a pain here, and it's not really an organ, and it wasn't really a muscle, and it wasn't really my hips or a bone thing, but just like is so painful. It was hard to get up and to walk and to, you see my eyes, just hard to put one foot in front of the other and just go to the bathroom. Hard to anything. It was really painful. And I wanted those things to go away, but it just seems like it was getting worse. So then oh, yes, Iris, they were a good deal. Oh, absolutely. I think it was. So, and I still have, let me show you. I still have, even after sharing, I still have some more of these kabocha squash. And yes, they're a 4, not a 9, so they're not technically they're not technically organic, right? But I doubt they spray them much. I did think when I cut one of these that maybe they have a little wax coating on them, as you can see right there, because I made it shiny. Anyways, I have a few more of these. I shared a lot of the produce from my produce box with other people because I knew, having been mostly animal based um, and carnivore, that I couldn't eat a lot and I was a little nervous. I'm still waiting to find out about my allergy test because those new allergy tests all came back negative, even for things that I've been allergic to for like years and years and years and years and years and years. And I don't understand, and neither do they. So, all that being said, there's still a conversation for me to have with that doctor and physician's assistant about what's going on with the allergies. So, I did get the produce box. I shared a lot of what was there. I ate a lot of grapes. They were so good. I haven't had grapes in years. I put some in Ziploc bags and stuck them in the refrigerator, which was on freezer mode for a little while. They didn't get frozen solid because they didn't let them wait that long, but they were nice and cold. They hurt your teeth, and it was really good. And then one of the watermelons tasted nasty, so that is going to the compost. I have a short, like 3 gallon bucket out back with a cup lid on it that I turned into a compost bucket because of the produce. So today, later, I need to take that out to the compost pile and, open up the pile and put that bucket in and then cover it all back up so that it's in the center where it gets the organisms to help uh, work on that compost pile. Anyway, and then we should have gotten 14 onions. I only took one. I was scared of onions. And that one I have dehydrating in the corner of the shower house. Okay, so as I've been working on the shower house, I now have hung up the shower head from a thing, a connector. And I have loosely attached the foot pump to a board so it's easier to maneuver. And then I'm starting to put some more shelving and support for the walls and things. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see what's coming up on my phone. I was hoping that you wouldn't, but I'm gonna have to. I can't. I can't shut that stuff off, or it screws with the signal. So, um, so as I've been working on I was telling you about the shower. So as I was working on the shower house, I added my air dehydrator. It's a hanging bag with zippers on it. That's just for convenience sake, and that okay, and that I could have traveled with that as well. So Tiny's asking me on the compost I'm doing, is it with layers and worms to enrich the soil? Sort of, kind of, yeah. So when I was using the garden room to grow a lot of produce, I actually had ordered worms, and then I went and bought fish and worms from the grocery store, and I had worm farms going inside the garden room. So they work their way down in the soil, and now that's not growing because I didn't set it up for growing, because I wasn't eating that much produce. So the compost pile out near the fence line. Hey, Beth, welcome. Good morning. So the compost pile out by the fence line is actually, at the current moment, it is a pile, but it is surrounded by straw. I couldn't afford this year to get new bales of straw. My preferred method is to get 4 bales of straw and make a square, and either use, the whole bale or a half wide bale to make the square. And then in the center of it, you dig just a little bowl shape at the bottom so that any liquids can gather there as they soak in the ground. And then you just start to dump your stuff in. And every once in a while, okay, you dump your stuff in, and then you cap the whole thing with more straw. So that way it's completely insulated and surrounded, but whatever's happening, the cooking process is happening in the center. That's how I do um, that's how I do composting. And it works really well all over the world. All the places I've ever been to, that has been the best system. So the thing that I do to maintain it or to add to it is I take the lid part off, or in this case, since it's more of a pile, I pull back all the straw that's on the top as a lid, and then you get to the center of it, and I make a hole in the center, and I add the new stuff, and then I stir it, and then I start piling it back up so that the lid is again the dry straw. And yes, it will attract worms and things, and they will live in there. So, and you can do the same method if you do it just as carefully. You can do the same method with humanure as you do with just plain old household compost. And you can add in, okay, you could put the dead rats in there. You could put a chicken who died on your farm in there. But it's always, you add the new stuff in the center. So there's some of the old working stuff, and then it gets covered up by the old brown working stuff. And in the end, it's all capped off with straw. I hope that's a good explanation. So, uh, you can compost dead animals, you can compost human waste, you can compost animal waste. Doesn't really matter. So let's see. So that's how my compost pile is working. And because, hi Bernie, welcome. It's so good to see you. Um, so because of getting that produce box and enjoying the one watermelon, the second one didn't taste good. That's just going in the compost pile. I ate one whole squash, and I'm dehydrating one squash just to see how it works. And yep, gone lickety split. That's right, Beth. So uh you could do larger animals if your compost pile is big enough. It's just the way it is. Um yeah, so I ate one squash. I'm dehydrating one to see how it works. Looks like it's working fine. I'm not sure if I want to cut it in smaller pieces next time. And I'm dehydrating one onion. Um, it was delicious. I ate some of the tomatoes carefully. I peeled them and seeded them, um, and mixed them with ground beef to stretch my ground beef because I'm concerned about both finances and my health. And so I did pretty good. Of course, I've eaten an awful lot of, like, I ate a whole watermelon just for one whole meal. Just, well, it was, it was a little one, but it wasn't a huge one. But come on, it was good. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. Would I do it again in the right moment? I'm not sure if I'm going to get another produce box right away because I still want more. Um, I still want more healing. And I noticed it when I added the produce and the other things because one, I was hungry, and two, the what I had for food here and my gas money and stuff, and I was worried about just not having enough. I feel like I feel like, I mean, I don't have a scale to weigh myself here, but I feel like I put on weight and I feel pudgy, and it could be inflammation. I don't know. Hi, Donna Kay. How are you guys doing, Donna Kay? I think I saw that you guys were traveling again. And are you guys okay? Um, so yeah, because like right now, I have achy in my hands. And so um I kind of been doing some more research, trying to figure out what could I change, what could I do different, and keep on track with my budget and everything as well. So I'm probably going to I'm probably going to try doing a sardine fast next. And I'm not a big fan of sardines, but I understand if you do sardines in olive oil, and you can do mackerel as well. And I do prefer mackerel. And I love kippered herring. So, but I'm thinking about doing that next. And I'll be doing that by uh, the lady who invented it, more or less, is Dr. Boz. So I'll be doing Dr. Boz's version. Well, she's the one who came up with it. In fact, I kind of can't wait to see if I can talk to her. But hey, G, nice to see you. So yeah, um, so yes, probably gonna do a Dr. Boz sardine fast next. She's had good success with it, even with her own parents. And she grew up in a very small rural, off grid town in South Dakota. And so she can think like me. And when she was dealing with her mother in the beginning, her mother had to use what she could. And that's how they tripped over the whole doing it with sardines. So let's, I'm going to try that. We'll see how it goes. So, Some of you all know that I was gifted an Echo Flow Delta 2 as a on loan gift for 9 months, 8 months now. It's here. It's actually charging out in the car. I have to take it out of the house, put it in the car in order to get it to charge because I don't have the right connector on any of the solar panels that are mounted on the cabin. So I take it out there and I set it up every day. And we've been having rain and clouds. Now, I have not gotten hit with the big monsoon kind of flooding that some of my neighbors have. But uh, I have been having some, and the cloudy days have made it a challenge to keep the refrigerator still running. The Echo Flow Delta does help. It's a nice battery pack, but it's an expensive battery pack. And so I'm not sure that this would fit my lifestyle or budget well. I'm not saying it's not useful. Who knows what my lifestyle is going to be when in the next few months. And now we can get on to the subject, I think. Yes, the flooding and monsoon rains in Apache County are very normal. And so this year, instead of me getting hit hard, it kind of went all the way around me and I got 10 raindrops the other day. So okay, it's somebody else's turn to get flooded out. I've been flooded out up here quite a bit. So um call G when the live is over. I will try to, G. Um I noticed that I also got a message from my son. I need to have some kind of communication with him today as well. So I'll get you both in, G. Um, yeah, Jeremy is blessed. One, that he knows how to use tractors and he was trained well on how to maneuver dirt with tractors and backhoes, big equipment. So Jeremy has done a good job with that. Um, my place is pretty good and on a normal in a normal sense, but um, the gutter's going to help tremendously because then I'm directing water where I want it to be, which is in storage. And because right now, a lot of the water that comes off the cabin rolls down the front porch roof, which is on the north side, straight onto the front steps and straight down the driveway. And so all that, once I have enough gutters up, that'll go into storage and be helpful for me not have to buy so much water. Other than that, there's some little tweaking to do to like crown the road and the driveway a little bit. I don't know, but anyways, whatever. There's been some fires here in Arizona that have affected the Apache sitgraves forest. It has affected greatly the town of Alpine, which is little and historic, as well as Ruidoso, New Mexico. And both of those places are very close to Apache County, but they're kind of down near Springerville more. Please think about all those people that were affected with that. I don't know if that's over yet, but it's wildfire time and we need to be careful. So there have been, first, there were stage 1 fire bans. Now it's in stage 2, I believe. I'm careful and safe. I still cook with either my alcohol stoves or um, or my Kelly kettle. Early mornings often don't have much wind. And so, in a very carefully thought through way I can use my Kelly kettle to make my hot water for my coffee outside in the morning. It is in an area where it is more than 3 feet of cleared space. There are times, if there's any wind blowing, I will set it down inside my fire pit so that it's even more protected. And so I do use it with great care to make my hot water for my coffee in the morning so I'm not heating up my indoor space. Uh, if it's really windy, really necessary, then I use my alcohol stove inside. And it often, like now, just sits on top of the wood stove, which is a very basically safe place to put that. So, good idea, Donna Kay. Donna Kay saying that if you don't need to travel, stay at home. She's camping in her car with all the problems and people trying to evacuate. She's staying put. That sounds good. Gee, there's not many rocks where I live. Thank you all for being here. Iris is saying my late honey and I worked at Rodosio Downs. It hurts your heart to think of the destruction. Yes, I can imagine it does. So now I'm going to pick up my note, my little Dollar Tree, I think it was. Yeah, Dollar Tree little scratch pad for this week. So the little notes I made, of course, the title, right? Harsh and hard realities. I'm going to talk about some stuff. Tiny and I were on the phone in the last couple of days talking a little bit about common frustrations that I've seen over the years and that Tiny's dealing with a lot in the community that he's in as a nomad right now. Tiny also runs the Moo Squad, which is mobile RV service, as in mechanical repairs. And I'm saying RV and bus, because he taught himself how to rebuild a diesel bus engine in order to keep his own rig on the road. So Tiny's a good guy to know as well. Jeremy's out there. All you guys, good guys to know. So, so we were discussing some things. He's noticing that there's a lot of people that he's tried to help that don't seem to understand when he tells them things. And so let's talk about harsh and hard realities of any kind of alternative lifestyle. Because I have been a person who enjoys living outside more than I do inside. And y'all see me inside on the videos because of my cell phone signal. Uh, yes, Jeremy, keep in mind that all your tools are at the shop. Yes, but um, you're still quite good at helping with advice. And I think I've even hooked you and Jeremy, I mean, you and Tiny up on the phone before so that you could help each other. So those things are useful. Um, Tiny is at his actual name is George. He doesn't mind that we know this. But so Tiny has started the Moo Squad. I tried to encourage him to come down and work with Stan. Stan is short two mechanics, I think he told me the last time. And so Stan is hunting for a couple of mechanics that would like to work for him full time, but they've got to have their own tools and they've got to not be just, fly by night. He needs mechanics. And you'll get paid well and you'll do well, but you need he needs mechanics. So if you know somebody hunting for a mechanic's job, uh, and they're good and reliable, kind of send them that way. So, so harsh and hard realities of alternative lifestyles. So, some of you know, most of you know, that I have been a budget world traveler as well as a nomadic van dweller, van lifer nomad, as well as a wolf farm person. Person. I have worked on wolf farms. Um, I have house sat, pet sat. Okay, I pet sat for some horses once. Horses are big animals. I don't have enough experience with horses. Not my thing. I don't want to house sit for people with horses anymore. Um, I have traded homes in order to travel. And so I lived in a van the first time in 1978. I was only a year and a half out of high school and newly married. And then I didn't think that I could have a baby while I lived in a van. I don't know why I thought that. So I pushed to rent an apartment, which we did. Um, so there's a lot of things. I I also let's see. I also marketed today's live stream on a couple of sites here in Apache County. So somebody might be watching and not commenting, but that might be from Apache County. Um, Please know, in the housekeeping sense, that I have those reactions you can put up, the little hearts and thumbs ups and things like that. And that I do have super thanks and super chats and stuff like that. I have Cash App, I have stuff. Look in the description below. I can't technically, Lisa cannot make much money until I become retirement age, which will be next January. At the current moment, I am still on disability, and as long as I am on SSDI, I have limits as to how much money I can actually bring in per month, and for me personally, annually. That's because of the title I came in under in the year I came in. We started my application in 2003. The laws were different. And so, because of that, I don't ask for much and I don't make tons of money. I just learned something that I didn't know. I made a mistake with my Amazon store. Evidently, when I was sharing Amazon links with you guys, I was sharing the wrong link. And so I never got credit for any of that. I wondered why I never got a check, but I just figured that out. So by January next year, things can look different. Uh, RVM with G, I don't know what your 1,500 a month is, but that is not the amount that I can deal with. I first off, I do not get 1,500 a month, and second off, I cannot earn $1,500 a month. I can earn less than $500 in a month, and I have to be careful that my gifts don't hit $500 in a month. And then I also can only earn $800 in a year until next January. And then it all changes. The gloves come off, and I can actually earn money. That's one of the reasons why I'm not, Beth, I'm not sure if the Amazon link on my description is correct. I'm not 100% sure. Um, I would like some help with that, Beth. I don't know if you have time to play with things online to help me out. But I would like to ask you for help with that. And I haven't had a chance. I haven't been feeling my tip top best, and I haven't been sick. I've been having some odd mus twitchy stuff in my thighs, which have made it hard to walk and move. But I also kind of got it in an intuitional, kind of prayer like way. I got the message that the pain I'm feeling is not something wrong, it's the healing that's happening. So that makes me want to cry because I've always seen the pain as something wrong with me. And to be able to see it now as it's what's making me better, okay, I'll go through it different. I'll go through it happier. It's actually maybe not that they want to twitch, but it's it's sharp and thick and long, feels like long. And it's like, for a minute, it's like, just be still, don't move, because it's really painful. And if you move a little bit, the pain can change to worse, or maybe you'll fall. I, I don't know how to explain it. So, and it's not like your leg falling asleep, and it's not like my electrolytes are off, kind of thing. But so, where it's just like, just stand still, just don't move, just be still. And sometimes it's when, okay, I'm really open with you guys. Boy, am I really open with you guys. But sometimes it's like when I'm in the motion of going to sit down, whether it's in the bathroom or, yeah, not exactly a cramp either, because if it was a cramp, I would say electrolytes, but not exactly. Anyway, so it's like, okay, I'm working with you, but I'm trying not to cry, and I'm trying not to like feed into the fact that this is scary. And so, so yeah, so with the working on my diet stuff, it's another reason why I want to go ahead and I'm glad that I've had the fruit for a minute, because I know that that flushes some things through. And so maybe that has helped a little bit. Um, and man, after eating a whole watermelon for dinner the other night, going to the bathroom a lot of times. Um, so I am moving as much as I can move, and trying to get things done as much as I can, and being careful to kind of rest a little when I'm able to. I'm challenging myself to like sit on the floor with Wendy more often, to change positions more in case it's my muscle or something, and that it just needs more exercise. I don't know the answer. I know I'm just throwing that out, but it's painful, and there's moments when it's like, no, God, no, please. I'm in the middle of hanging a gate. Let's not do this right now. Anyway, so okay, I'm totally off my notes. So harsh and hard realities. It's not only one of the alternative lifestyles that comes with a harsh reality. Any of life can come with a harshness or a reality, or a hard reality. But get real about your current situation. Okay. Now, Tiny and Jeremy have a like mechanical twist to the way they do things. Um, and when we all have different like twists to the way we see life. And because I've been low income, low budget most of my life, there's a lot of that in the way I see things. So, so your choice of lifestyle is going to come with its own reality, and it's going to come with its own harshness and hard times. And some of that is going to come from the style of life you've chosen. So, for example, when I was doing world travel, and for the time period when I was doing a lot of wolf farming, so WOOF, in case you don't know, is willing workers on organic farms. And they have a USA chapter and they have international chapters. But anyway, so when I was in that period of my even budget international travel, that came with the harsh realities of each time I agreed to a period at a particular wolf farm, whether it be 2 weeks or 3 months. And I agreed to do X amount of work for my free room and board. It is a way to travel, but you signed on to that lifestyle for the period of time that you signed on. And so, say, for example, let's take the example of a 2 week stay that came with I'm going to clean the bunk room in exchange for my being able to stay on this farm and learn from both the library and the owners about a deeper part of permaculture home gardening. I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I got that. I can do that. No problem. So you go, and then one of the hard realities was wait a minute, the bunk room's got 20 beds in it, and there's a bunch of sloppy, dirty 20-year-old weed smoking men. And there's two of us women in the whole place, for example. Okay. So you put yourself in the reality of, whoa, okay. So when you first get there, you're learning the realities as you then pick up on, okay, wait a minute. And during these 2 weeks, this is the worst 2 weeks of the year for scorpions. And the owner has told you that the places to look for the scorpions is between the sheets and the mattress and between the towels hanging on a towel rack in the wall. There's an example of, oops, okay. So there's a hardness and a harsh reality that you have to deal with for those 2 weeks. Okay. So now let's translate this over to whatever you've chosen for your life. You may have been an urban city dweller kind of person. WWOOF.org. I think there's, yeah, I think there's two W's. Anyway, so on the wall. Yeah. So when you're in a situation that you've chosen to be in, okay, we choose our lifestyle even if we don't think we do. Sometimes running away from an abuser is still choosing the lifestyle that we're running away from the abuser, or that we're going to now live in a tent city, or we're going to move to Slab City, or we're going to, I don't know what, I'm just throwing things out. But my point being that we chose this, even if you want to argue that you didn't. I can find you a reason that you probably somehow chose it. Now, I'm not saying it would be your dream lifestyle that you necessarily chose. Sometimes you've got to choose something for safety's sake. But the point being that we have some choice in the lifestyle we're in. So when we do that, the location that we're in is important. Now, if you've chosen to go to a wolf farm for 2 weeks, and maybe you chose it because it's in Costa Rica and you want to see what Costa Rica's like, see, choice. Okay. But another situation might be that you're running from an abuser. So you figured out Slab City you can hide in. So you just need to get there with a tent and a backpack. Again, here's another choice. But you get there and you realize that your neighbors are all tweakers. And now you've got to protect yourself in a different way. See what I'm saying? Or you may have chosen to become an off grid person in a place like Apache County, Arizona, which is where my cabin is. Um, because I have a fur dog. That was her mom open the door bark. Do you have enough water in your bowl? Anyway, so you may have chosen to be in Apache County, and you might have chosen to, um, for example, like Jeremy, not you know that you want to work for a few more years, so you chose to get your off-grid property 6 miles outside of a town where you could work. Jeremy's situation's more like that. He can have electricity and pay for power. I chose, well, I wasn't looking for land, but when it came to find me, then I realized it was a good idea. So I said yes. So I chose a place way far away from other people because I didn't think I could trust people. You want back out? Come here. Let's say hi to everybody. Come here. Come here. Come here. Up, up, up. Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Wendy. Hi, I'm Miss Wendy. Can you see you in the mirror? In the thing? Yes, or travel between a Walmart, Noenco, and right Reno. Exactly. But because of whatever situation, you've chosen to be, oh, what a good girl. You've chosen to be in a location, or whatever. And you've chosen a lifestyle that includes some kind of housing. Now, you may have chosen to live in a tent or to hang your hammock every time you've. I have friends that are hammock campers. I love sleeping in a hammock. Let me tell you, when I sleep in a hammock, I think that I have less aches and pains when I sleep in a hammock. And I am aware that autoimmune diseases affect the systematic um, and muscular parts of bodies. And so, oh, you don't want me to do that, huh? The silly butt. You want to get down? Okay, you get down. So, sorry about all that wiggling around, but I have a dog and that's what you get to see. So, the locations we're in, the housing that we choose now as a van lifer, nomadic van dweller person, you may have chosen that your housing is some kind of house that has wheels as opposed to a hammock or a tent. Now, my good friend Wolf, um, he has both a vehicle and hammocks. And so he prefers to park his deuce and a half, which has a veggie oil processing plant in the bed of the truck, and he towed as a trailer a communication box, a military communication box that's a similar year to his 1970, 71, I don't remember, deuce and a half. So he, Wendy, be easy with her, please. Wendy, don't chew on her so much. Thank you. You scare me. So his communications box is built out with a couch that can turn into a bed, and underneath of it is storage, and a kitchen with a refrigerator and solar panels on the roof. Okay. And then he also has his hammock setups, and he had built a little Vardo, which is a gypsy style trailer that the roof went up and down on, and it was called the tea house. Now, I think he's using it different now, but he used to tow that behind one of his old vehicles. Now I think it's girlfriend uses it as a vendor trailer, and she has an older Toyota 4Runner, and they sleep in hammocks. So they set up a camp with the 4Runner and the tea house trailer and their hammocks. And then when they go to work, they leave a outside cheap tent to mark their spot, and they take the trailer to do vendor things. So all this to be saying, there's so many different styles, but if you're choosing, your housing is going to cost you maintenance and so the location, the weather, your choice of homes, whether it's a home that has wheels or that you carry on your back, tent or hammock, I'm thinking, or if you're choosing to like go volunteer somewhere for room and board. Those are ways. You have to become radically independent, and you've got to become self-responsible, because once you leave a big group, whether it's a city, a family, religion, or whatever, you got you. And you got you and maybe God if you believe in him, right? But you got you to take care of you. And you're lucky if you can make friends. But if you don't have friends, and you got to be able to trust whoever, you have things happen. You've got to, so your personal interactions, your community, you got to learn how to be in community in different situations, and then your health. And health is a big one. And as we age or change things or have accidents happen, I mean, how many people they're walking along and you fall flat on your face? And I mean, I've been paralyzed before. It ain't fun. I'm just saying. But it happens to all of us, and in different ways, because our life is different. So our finances are different. It's your responsibility to protect your belongings and to keep things in good repair, your tools, your vehicle. If you're in an off-grid situation, you better see your vehicle as a tool, and you better do the maintenance on that before you need it. Because, a year ago, my engine blew in my tracker. Now, I've had a lot of different vehicles over the years, but none of them have been new because, one, I'm not willing to go in debt for anybody. My freedom is worth my investment, the investment of my time and my energy and my finances. And so I'm working on being debt free for the third time. I'm so sick of working on this. But by January or February next year, I'll be debt free again. I owe $2,500 right now on repairs to past vehicles. Well, actually, I might be at, I might have already paid off the past vehicles. Now that I'm down to 2,500, this might be stuff that happened with the white tracker now. But I'm just saying, my point being, if you owe anybody money, you're kind of a slave to them. You work for them, you don't work for you. And so I think my freedom is worth more to me than anything else. And so um, it's my responsibility to take care of my stuff, not somebody else's. I appreciate people that help me. You gotta, I think basically most of you know that, but um, we're alternative lifestyles. We're so much at the mercy of the weather and things beyond our control. Um, um, so, checking my notes. How's your common sense? How's your ability to figure out who to trust? How's the meter for those things? Um, how's your common sense ability to realize that your alternative lifestyle is not a party every night? It's not a camp out with marshmallows and s'mores every night. Because if you do that and act like it's a party and you're, maybe having too much to drink every single night or having s'mores and cake and whatever else every single night, now you're eventually going to affect your health. Because if you don't become diabetic, maybe you get fat, maybe you, who knows? I mean, I'm not saying anything about, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just being real here. The reality is, if you treat it all as a party every night, it's going to catch up to you. And you're going to see the results of that in a very short period of time. And if you don't pay attention to the things that are your responsibility, which is your life and your tools and your belongings, then you could end up in a situation that bites you in the butt so big time. Now, I feel blessed and grateful that I have been able to have a decent emergency fund. I probably had three different emergency funds built up to about $3,000, $3,500. Okay, in since 2011, let's say, and those were good amounts of money. See, in my opinion, an emergency fund starter is $500, and then as quick as you can, make it 1,000. But after that, you better start looking at enough money to change or replace the vehicle if you're vehicle dependent or your location dependent. And so we're talking, an average 3 to 6 months of monthly income, which for me personally, being low income disability, so I get $1,100, so $1,100 per month. Because of that amount, we're not counting any YouTube stuff, because if I get a couple $100 in a year, it's a big deal right now. But let's just say that, for example, 3 months of my income would be $3,300, and 6 months worth would be $6,600. Wouldn't that be a nice emergency fund? I could basically go buy another car if I needed to. Unfortunately, when my engine blew, which will be a year ago this coming Sabbath, um, it'll be a year. At that moment, I had a $2,000 emergency fund. Up till then, that had been sufficient for a while, but I knew I was risking if something big happened. I just never expected an engine to blow. And I had not done enough research to find out that a 16 valve Suzuki engine was hard to find. nearly impossible to find. And so that's a big, that's, I didn't have enough money for that. And did I do what I see lots of other travelers and nomads doing? No, I did not start a GoFundMe because it's nobody else's responsibility to keep my car running. That's my job. I am so grateful for the people who try to help me. Yes. And some people have given me incredible gifts of purchasing large uh, uh, um, replacement parts or repair parts, or getting Stan's phone number and calling him and just paying him to do a job for me. I mean, I have been incredibly blessed that way, but that's not something I should count on. That is a blessing. Thank you so much, God, and the people involved who mostly don't want me to say their names online. But and look, for example, my nephew sending me the little bit of extra money so that we could go get my tracker, my white tracker, and bring it back to Stan's. If he hadn't done that little thing, and then a couple other people sent a couple $100, and we were able to go get it and bring it closer. You understand what I'm saying? I don't agree. I'm not seeing all the messages, but I saw something about a credit card, and I do not agree. I don't know what it said, so I'll have to come back and read messages in a minute. I do not agree with using credit cards for emergency funds. I don't agree with it at all because you're at the mercy of the credit card people, and you're always just a step away from losing something or some, I don't know what. I think it's better when you can have your own and take care of your own. So I think there's a freedom in that. And so I don't agree with, if I had, I'm trying to imagine a situation where I would use GoFundMe. I can't imagine one. Perhaps if I had a horrible accident where I was on life support in a hospital and it was hard to, I don't, but mine would be paid for by Medicare and Medicaid because I did the research and I found out how to keep original Medicare and Medicaid while you're on the road and traveling as a nomad, allows you to go to any hospital and any doctor who accepts Medicare and get care. But if you do an advantage plan, you cannot do that. So I just kept my original. I can go to some foreign countries, will even accept my Medicare, original Medicare, in the hospital. So I know I kind of get on a soapbox about these things, but do your freaking homework. That's your job for whatever the lifestyle is you've picked out. What's the best way to communicate people in the lifestyle you like? You know, I struggle with my signal out here, but I don't struggle with it enough to pay $600 or $800 in equipment and extra antennas and whatever else in order to set something up at the cabin where I don't want to be 24/7. And I told the county I'm not going to be here 24/7. This is a seasonal cabin. It is not a permanent residence with an occupancy permit. I have a right to have a seasonal cabin on my property in Apache County that is built without permitting as long as I do it by the rules. So find out what the rules are. Play by the rules, work with it. I visit the county once every 6 months, double check that nothing has changed, do whatever's appropriate to keep everybody happy, make sure they put notes in the computer, and carry on. I do that because in my lifestyle, I'm also a YouTuber. I'm also very much aware of many YouTubers that are friends of mine who have had people get mad at them and call to authorities and try to shut them down. So I'm not trying to have that happen to me. So I be proactive. Um, I also have learned a long, long time ago, if I have to have a vehicle in this particular lifestyle I'm in, I need a vehicle. My vehicles are one of my tools. I must maintain that vehicle. First off, I need to make sure the tires are good. So I make sure tires are good. I make sure that the fluids are filled. I check my fluids on a regular maintenance schedule. Once a month, payday, unless I know the vehicle's a little less dependable, then I pick like every time I go to town, I check XYZ, right? I go to my mechanic. So I will pay attention to what's happening with my vehicle. I will go to my mechanic and I will say, look, I don't know what this is, but I think in order for you to have the experience I have, you need to drive it further than in the parking lot. So please, do you need to go to Springerville today for parts? Can we take my car, please? I need you to drive my car fast at speed. I need you to see how I drive my car. And I need you to experience what's going on because I can't have it break down 40, 50, 100 miles from town. I don't know how to do wrenches. So that's what I do with my that's what I do with my vehicles because I'm dependent on them as part of my whatever. You have to maintain things. So now, back when I was looking at having travel trailers and I wanted my home to have wheels under it. So I did the research for the county, what's legal. I've done I've done I've refurbished 5 vintage trailers. In that process, I lived in them for a little while. I checked with the county to see what was legal and what was not legal for me to do. And I realized what I liked and what I didn't like about them. If you are in a travel trailer, any of the newer travel trailers have been built as overgrown tents. They are not built for people to live in like a house. So if your home is on wheels, it's a vehicle, it's a travel trailer, it's a class A, it's a whatever, you better be maintaining that well. Or, roofs fly off. You hire the wrong guy to put your solar in and the thing burns down. It flips on the highway because a tire blows because you don't check, or sometimes people don't check to see how are the tires on the trailer holding out. Oh, the tread's starting to show. Maybe I should this month spend the money on the trailer tires before I make the next 400 mile trip. I mean, I'm just saying, guys, it's your responsibility. These are realities that people don't think about. Urban city people who are moving out to alternative lifestyles, as a general rule, not everybody, but as a general rule, they often fail to consider the weather because they're so used to living in a climate controlled atmosphere. Imagine somebody coming from New York City. They ride the city bus or the subway. They go shopping in a grocery store. They go to the mall. They see movies inside. They live in an apartment building with 1,000 other people. Think about that. They're in climate controlled situations all the time. They hardly ever are outside in the weather. How's that going to translate over to living in a van? Have they even thought about that? So there's that factor. The housing, we just talked a little bit about housing. Utilities, they work different off grid. They work different on a van as opposed to on a stationary house. Not much different, but you can't just pay somebody for that stuff and expect it to work without you checking. If you accidentally close a cord in the door, you better check the cord and make sure you didn't cut it. Even in a stationary place. If you're off grid, that's your fault if you didn't check that. You need to check these things. You're not going to, in an off grid situation, you're not going to find EV stations like somebody on Facebook keeps saying. And that lady, I hope she never comes here, because boy, we don't want EV stations here. We don't want them to, have to set up a generator so that you can charge your freaking car. And if they do, you better pay for it, because I don't want to pay for it. The price, the finances for off-grid living, a lot of people, especially people from urban and city areas, they think it's cheaper. If you've got more time than money, you're going to put a physical time and energy and muscle work investment in, where in the city you might be doing just paying somebody. Communication, cell signals are not consistent. Not everybody can afford Starlink. You're not going to drive to the library from my house every single day. If you are, you better be rich, because I can't afford to do that. I haven't been in the library in a long time, but if I wanted to go to the library, I'd probably do it once a month. I mean, the price of off-grid, it is not what you think it is. Simple stuff is different off-grid. Like, if you're using a clothesline as opposed to a dryer, your clothes won't last the same way. It's different because the sun in Arizona is so strong. Your fabrics are going to fade if you hang them on the clothesline. So what did I learn when I was in the indigenous village down in Costa Rica? Turn your clothes wrong side out, then hang them on the clothesline. If the inside fades, you don't care the same. What a simple solution. But you got to think about these things. If you're driving on dirt roads and you've never been on dirt roads before, you're going to have more repairs to make. You're going to need to upgrade or maintain your suspension, your tires, maybe your transmission more often than the average sedan. And probably don't bring a sedan out to a situation where you're on dirt roads. Consider this. Consider simplicity as a lifestyle. Simple and easy are two different things. Okay? Very different things. I consider freedom and keeping as much of my personal choice in my own hands much more important than other things. Consider becoming debt-free. Consider going low tech and only having what you truly need. Consider living below your own means. Consider doing it yourself. Consider going slower, taking it all, taking your life slower. And that's even hard for me. But there are realities like your engine could blow and you can't find another one. You've done, like me, I worked hard to find a vehicle that was capable. that wasn't a Jeep because I couldn't afford a Jeep, okay? That was capable, that was within my budget, that would allow me to do the things I needed to do. I found one. I can maintain it. It took me thousands of miles before the engine blew. I didn't have any experience with head gaskets going. I may have made one major mistake. We won't know if that's true, but it's very probable. And that is, I had mentioned it to my mechanics that I don't know why my reservoir for the coolant won't stay full. But it wasn't the heater core because I'd already had a heater core go bad in the Cherokee. So I knew that if it's heater core, you're going to have water, liquid inside the vehicle. Mostly the carpet on the passenger side gets really wet. And so I knew it wasn't that, and I mentioned it a few times, but nobody picked up on it. And then I was driving through Vegas, still wondering, do I go on this trip? Is something bigger going to happen? I don't understand. Now I'm carrying a gallon of coolant with me because now the weather has warmed up. And I'm using a gallon of coolant every month. And every time I stop for the night, I'm checking the coolant reservoir and it's empty. And I don't know why it's empty. And so I stopped. Every time I stopped, it was near a mechanic. I was like, can you double check me? And everybody's like, so far, so good. Just keep going. Just do what you're doing and keep going. I got to Vegas and my phone rang, and it was my therapist. And I thought that I should take the call. So I found a parking lot and I pulled in the parking lot, and it was 110 degrees and there were homeless people everywhere, like creepy kind of homeless people. And I, in order to talk to her, I locked the car and turned the air conditioner on and sat there and talked for a good half hour. That may have been what blew the engine. But once they got in the engine and saw the damage, they were like, we really think it came from the factory this way as well. What you did didn't help. So whether we blame me or we don't blame me is not the fact. The fact is, I had no idea. And I'd never hunted for an engine like mine. And I didn't know that I couldn't find one. So here we are almost a year later. And so, because my life was so vehicle dependent, and all of this, take it as an example if you live in one of these um, uh, different alternative lifestyles, just take what I'm saying and translate it over to how are you doing with yours? I made some mistakes, but are you being careful with yours? That's the point here. Are you being careful? Do you need help? Because we don't want you in the same situation. But am I grateful and blessed that I was able to have the cabin to come back to? Yes. Did it take a long time to get here? Yes. I tried to believe and trust some people who said that they were going to come get me and bring me home, and they didn't do it. They didn't even call me to say they weren't coming. Well, you can't trust those people, so they're not friends. They're acquaintances, and I don't talk to them. I don't spend any energy on those people anymore. But my point in saying all this is, look, these are realities. These are things that have happened. It happened to me a year ago. Okay. I didn't go get a GoFundMe and say, guys, you need to fix my car. No. I said, okay, what have I got? How can I make this work? How can I do this the best? How can I be responsible? How can I sit through this? And then I came online on my Sunday Live and I said, guys, I'm going to cry, but can you hold my hand through this? Because I don't know how to do this. This is scary shit. And I'm a long ways from home. And I feel so alone. And I don't want to be this alone anymore. And I don't know what this is going to change for me. That was last year, right? Now I'm saying I still don't know what this is going to change for me, but I know one thing. I can't live so vehicle dependent when I have a capable cabin to help me in my life. So I don't need necessarily to be so dependent on living on the road, but I do need to finish up the basics here at the cabin so that, like I did this past 2 weeks, I now can go out and take a shower anytime I want to. And I'm improving that all the time. Um, I'm also I'm working on making it a little more comfortable to cook outside even in a high wind or um, whatever. Like G mentioned about, can't you just go get some rocks and build a cooking situation? That's a great idea, G, but there aren't rocks here. There's some caliche. I found a couple of pieces about this big, but I have more sand than I have rock in my location. Not far away, there are things. But I'm really considering going ahead. I used to have a Dutch oven table, which is steel. I'm considering getting another one of those for the back patio because I can make my fires on there and it has a windscreen. And I'm still using my little camping stoves because they work. And I've already put the investment into them. And some of them are charcoal and some of them are alcohol and some are wood based. But any of those things is within my budget. And I realized recently that I had made a mistake with one of my budgets is my fuel assistance. I forgot that part of that budget should have been set aside for me to use during the year to buy the small amounts of alcohol to cook with when the weather's bad. During good weather, I can use a wood fire and I'm fine. So, okay, now I'm gonna go look at y'all's comments because I feel like I've been on a soapbox for a minute. And let me get a drink. So let me come see what y'all have been saying. You guys got questions for me? Please put those 3 uppercase Q's in front of things that you want me to speak on so I can see them, please. So, oh, I got to go quite a ways, don't I? Oh, hi, Wendy. Wait a minute. Oh, I got to go way, way back. Let me see. What are y'all talking about? Do I have the whole? Oh, I don't even have the right thing set. Okay, Wendy, Wendy Bark, are you coming in? Oh, there you are. See, I was listening, Wendy. Don't give me a hard time. I was listening. You know, Sundays I talk to people. All right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, bringing rock into. I saw something about rock. Crap. Wow, there's so many messages. Okay, I don't know. I'm seeing when Beth came in. I remember that. Okay, I remember I saw that. Cramps, more water, more electrolytes. Gotcha. I have magnesium citrate and potassium, whatever it is. I have those things here in order to make electrolytes because I figured it was wise to have it on the property. I don't love to take it, to be honest, but I use Redmond Real Salt. And I learned something recently from listening to one of Dr. Boz's things um, on YouTube. I started putting the Redmond's real salt in my coffee, in my black coffee in the morning. Different taste, kind of cool. I kind of like it. And so that gets it in without me having to like eat something, which I don't, when it's hot, I don't eat the same. Who is that, Beth? Years ago, you couldn't go forward or backward. We were talking about my leg back then. Um, yeah, gee, I move a lot, so it. I'm not a person, and I think you remember that. I'm not a person who just kind of sits around. Um, I'll sit, but every 15 minutes I'm up doing something. It used to drive some of my other friends crazy. Is my signal still good? That I saw my face glitch. I guess we're all right. Uh, yeah, I might need to do like toe stretching or something. It might be a stretch thing that will help. Okay, I can't. Okay. And this motion of bending forward to mess with the phone, you bring the stool closer, is really, really annoying me greatly. Yes, Jeremy. You know what, G? I saw something about on the wall. I don't know what that comment was about, but because I just read these messages about the weird leg thing I was having, I used to love it as a kid to lay on my bed with my head hanging off and my hair, right, hanging off the bed and my legs up in the air on the wall. That I haven't done that in a while. I used to love that. It's probably really good for us. We're all pet lovers. Oh, good. That was okay. So, on topic of choice of location, this is Jeremy's comment. My family went looking and sent me videos and pictures, and I told them what to look for. So, I had a game plan when I showed up. I know where to get started. And boy, the first year was rough. But here we are 4 years later, and I'm loving every minute of it. That's wonderful, Jeremy. I think a lot of people, especially coming from more urban city situations, they do not understand how hard the very beginning can be. But if they can be consistent in those turtle steps that are so hard over time, excuse me, over time, it gets better, it gets easier. Focus on what you can manage and what's a true need, not a want. And survival can happen easier. But sometimes the first year, especially out here, you're just in survival mode. And if you come out here, like I've seen people do before, with a little mini car and four kids under 7 years old, you better have a plan for having something for them to be in before any weather starts. And this particular area is weather heavy with awkward weather. So yeah, you better be prepared for all kinds of stuff. And now that the monsoons have started, so Father's Day to Labor Day, monsoons. Once they start and there's some actual water running, then you start to see the rattlesnakes more. So you need to watch for snakes because rattlesnakes like the lower, rockier places that can be, they can hide in the rocks and stay in the shade to stay cool. And then in the morning, when it's cool, they'll be on top of the rocks, sunning themselves to get warm. When the monsoons come through, it floods out their dens, and so they're just moved by the water. So think about that too. I would too, Jeremy, but my health and money is stopping me from really being out there. That's true, G. We know that. I hope that gets under control soon. Third time's a charm. And yes, Jeremy, first year, lots of physical work involved. Iris, yeah. Tiny GPS said we must have been talking about loans and finances. People don't understand that a loan is a temporary fix. It's not a real plan. You'll be in worse shape. Often that is absolutely true. I know for me, it was a big mistake. I don't know how far back to go to say this was the mistake that made this happen. But it might have been the mistake of calling Hawa when all I needed was a tent to make it through a couple of months. I needed a loan of enough money. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I needed a tent in order to get through about 3 months, the year that Ozzy died. So I had the Ford Exploder. Something was wrong with it. Big O Tires and Sholo told me that I needed a new engine and it was going to be $3,000. I took it to Stan and I cried and I said, I don't know what to do. And Stan said, oh, yeah, it's shot. But he goes, let me hang on to it and see if I can fix it. So I got a ride back home, but there was nothing here. I had nothing to sleep in. I had no tent. I had no cabin. I didn't even have a tarp. Everything I owned was in the Explorer. That's when I realized I needed something that wasn't the car, but I didn't know what to do. So I got back here, begged a friend and neighbor to borrow their little teardrop camper. And they said, yes, you can borrow it for a couple of weeks, but we need it at X amount of time because we're getting ready to leave and I need to lock it up so that it's secured. So you have 2 or 3 weeks, you can borrow it. It's like, okay. So it came here, I borrowed it, and I started just scrambling I got 3 weeks. I got to figure out what the freak to do. So Stan had the truck and he said, I'll sell it. I'll get you $1,500 out of it. Like, all right. So I started just calling friends. If I get a tent, can you pick me up and take me to Quartzsite? Yes, I'll do that for you. Okay, I hope you really mean it. Let me see if I can get a tent. Then somebody else, because it was going to be fall soon. And so then it was, okay, so if I get a tent and so can get me to Quartzsite, if I need to go grocery shopping, can I call you? Will you help me? Yes, I'll help you, but not very often. And I was like, okay, all right. Let me see what I can do about that. So I started hunting for how can I get a tent? And I was like, I can get a cheap old Walmart one that's going to be hard as crap. And I was like, if I get a Gazelle tent, how can I get one? And they were new. So I started calling and I was like, shit, if this was only 2 weeks from now, I can afford one on my paycheck, but how am I going to do that? So that's probably the first mistake right there. So I called Sue-Ann and I said, can you help me buy a tent? I can give you the money back in 2 weeks. She goes, no. I was like, what do you mean no? And she goes, I want you to apply for the minivan. It'll look good for Hawa if you get the minivan. And I was like, I don't want a minivan. I can't get it on my property in the monsoon. Well, maybe you should get this other thing. I don't want those things. All I want is to buy a Gazelle tent. Well, why that one? Well, because I've done the research and it's a good tent. Well, I never heard of that one. Well, it's only 300 bucks. I can afford it in about 2 weeks. I should have waited the 2 weeks. There's the mistake right there. I should have waited the 2 weeks and ordered it myself. And I didn't. And then I got the minivan with the bad engine. And then I got the Cherokee, which was a piece of shit. And I had to borrow money to fix the Cherokee. I had to borrow money because the $4,000 I got for the minivan, I had to pay Howa some money. And I bought the Cherokee and then I put brand new tires on it. And then I needed more stuff. And so I just went, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in courtside. I'm stuck. That's the mistake I made, was borrowing the money for the tent or asking for that. That started it. See? Okay. Yeah, if I was on life support, really, original Medicare will take care of all those bills. So what's the big deal? And yeah, somebody else would be doing something. And so there's no reason for me personally to be doing any GoFundMe things. I can't imagine that. YouTubers are a thing, yes. And if it's the one I think you're talking about, Jeremy, that tracker that y'all did, the white one that I liked the removable rear top on. By the way, that removable rear top that I really like that I'm hunting for, that one is an OEM that came on the original removable hard tops that came from the factory. And so that's that style of top. I don't know where I'm going to find one, but that's what I want for the rear of mine. But that person, you guys just had that in the shop. It's up for sale already. I don't know if you saw that. And wow, yeah, what a piece of work some of those people are. Jeremy's saying tires, think about it every 5 years, bottom line. Jeremy, this is something I did not know. I guess I really didn't do any research on it, but I've been through so many vehicles over so many years that I don't know how many times I've come in the shop to you guys and said, what do you mean it doesn't need brakes? Every car I know every year needs brakes. And they're like, what are you talking about? Well, last year I had the da and it had to have brakes. And then I got this other one and it had to have brakes. So brakes are a once a year thing, right? Yeah, I'm wrong. Okay. But Tiny said to me the other day something about tires last about 3 years. And it was like, really? I never thought about that. And then we were on the phone later and he corrected me and said, no, manufacturers say 5 years, but in actual use, it depends on how you're using them. And you might need tires at 3 years or at 5 years. And so he said, you really need to. I was like, I didn't realize, of course, there's a lifetime involved. I just didn't realize it. So I never had a vehicle that lasted me very long. So some of that's nice. Sometimes the tires look okay, but UV damage can't be seen. That's true. That is true. And I know, especially with trailer tires, that's very true. But still, the more we check things, the less surprises have to happen. And still shit happens. But you know, if a tire blows on a trailer or a Class A, you know, sometimes the tread like flies off, like on a semi truck, when it makes the rounds as it's coming off, the tire parts are flapping the wheel well. Inside the wheel well is often where the heater is, or the water heater, or the um I'm trying to remember. It just tears up and breaks other stuff inside and outside. So, that's why I'm saying check those things. Brand new tire with a flaw in the build. Yeah, those things happen. There you go, Beth. Ooh, good for that person with his solar system being able to run his EV car, because that's incredible. Kenneth, your whole body needs an upgrade. I've been trying to upgrade mine for a while now. Glad to see you, Kenneth, by the way. I just noticed my lips are really dry. Yeah, my car's old enough. The factory damage isn't going to be able to like help out. 20 years later, exactly. Like they don't even make these anymore. So where would you go with it? Jeremy, you have a lot of rock. Cool. But driving rock out here, that's an expense I can't afford. Thanks, Jeremy. Stan's a sweetheart. Total sweetheart. Yep. That's right, Jeremy. That Cherokee. Oh, good Lord. That was oh, that car. Three sets of shocks in like 6 or 7 months or something. And that was crazy. And then I think we figured out that the leaf springs were broken or something. Beth, yeah. But you know what? It was, now that I retold that story and thought that out loud with you guys, it was my decision to call Sue Ann, thinking that the emergency fund would help me with that $200 or $300 to buy that tent, and that I could pay it back in 2 or 3 weeks. That's the mistake Lesa made. Had I not done that, none of that other stuff. It would have been a different thing. So, yeah. And yes, Bernie, I did what I did, and here we are. Moving right along. Never had your brakes done? Good for you. I just kept buying things with bad brakes. Wiring, batteries, yeah. Your RV weighs a lot. You're loaded to the hilt and towing. Oh, okay. All right. Does that mean I caught up? I think I caught up with all the messages. Do we have more questions and comments and things to talk about? Miss Wendy sleeping on the floor. I'm afraid to turn the phone around. Y'all know what happens with the signal up here. If I move the phone, it seems to really screw it up. And I should check. how's the, oh, okay. I want to, I've had the freezer unplugged for a while. Since I'm going to do the sardine fast, there we go. Um, that will help with the refrigerator because I won't need to use it while I'm doing that. Or I can just use it for cold water or something. Beth, but my thinking is the Howa's aim should be to help where you need the help and not what pushes their agenda. But you were known and she wanted to use that. Yes, that's true. That's very true. And I was guided to do it all their way and I didn't like it, but I was between a rock and a hard place by the time I was sitting in Pahrump, still waiting for a tent with no place to sleep. So, but you know what? Mistakes happen and moving right along. And, God let it go that way for some reason. I did right what I was supposed to do when I was doing it. Yes, George and Jeremy, I second Iris's comment. Thank you for not taking advantage of people. Thank you for having ethics and stuff that you take good care of people without taking advantage. Yes, G, by the way, the batteries, I keep them up. I'm one day I'm running the Rock Pals, and then for 2 days I'm running the Echo Flow. And so it's like one's at 100, then the other one's at 100. And it's, but it's been cloudy for a couple of days and it's not enough. So I think my son's right. I think we're going to try to get me maybe two 100 watt hour. I hope I said that right. Lithium batteries for the cabin to stay here. I think that's what we're aiming for. And probably around the time that, it's hard for me to save $100 the way things are going right now, but Kittens and Wendy are doing a good job with the rodents and the rabbits, doing a great job. Um, my health is good enough that I can do stuff around the yard and around the house. I'm being really super, super careful driving to town. As much as I'd love to go see people and be around people, I'm staying home more and more. So I have to go to town one day before payday, um, because Wendy, thank God for Angie Lozano from Cottonwood. Now, any of you nomads traveling around, if you ever get to Cottonwood, Angie runs a homeless shelter for families with their pets. Yes, I said that. And she also runs a Chihuahua rescue. She and I have been friends for years and years. And so, oh, who's that? Donna Kay leaving. Okay, bye bye, Donna. Love you. Have a good week. Um, Angie has picked up where Cece Lopez from Help a Dog Out Rescue in Phoenix failed her rescue by taking a rehoming fee from me for $350 because the dog was supposed to be chipped, spayed, and had shots. Wendy was examined by a vet for $66, and he determined she did not have a chip or was was not spayed. And so he said, based on that, you can't guarantee that she's had shots. I couldn't afford for him to do what needed to be done, but I was able to get through Good Dog Rescue, REZQ, here locally. I was able to get the chip and the spay. I mean, the chip and the shots. So that's all been done. And now Angie, thank God for my friend Angie. She has blessed me with the gift. She has paid for the spay. And anybody that wants to shame Cece Lopez and the Help a Dog Out Rescue out of Phoenix, go right ahead. Yeah, my gloves are off now. Now I'll say who it is because Wendy has been scheduled before my next payday comes up in Shobo. And I won't, because I'm a YouTuber, I won't say when that is, but I will have to make one trip. So I have to save gas money for these things. So I will take her and have her operation um, soon. So thank you, Angie, so freaking much. I Angie and I have been friends for years, and it all happened over my last dog, Ozzy, who she knew from Cottonwood's rescue dog shelter. She passed him up for years, thinking he was a horrible dog, and I got him and just gave him a lot of love. So um, that's that's she met me through that, and then she found out that I was struggling to manage his health care for things like I wanted to get his dog license because I didn't know about chips back then. It's been a while. And so she paid for me to get his shots so he could have his dog license and things like that. So I'm so grateful for Angie being the kind of friend she has paid for many operations on Aussie and shots and things like that. But I know she's helped many people out as well. And I can't say enough good about what Angie does for the community in that Cottonwood, Sedona area. Um, and if you're ever down there camping and you can, I don't know, donate or something or help her or even just do a meet and greet with a dog. I have, when I was traveling often, I have fostered dogs for her um, while I'm on the road. She has let me take a dog as a foster for a couple of weeks because they just needed a little people time. And she knows how I am with them. And I'm better with littles than I am with big dogs. And so Angie and I have a lovely relationship. I was going to go down and speak to her people at the homeless shelter about how they can take a different perspective and not look homeless and carry themselves in a way where they can actually improve their lives, kind of using the turtle steps and making a plan. And we never did that, but we had thought about it a few times. So you want to go out? Okay, go ahead. You got it. Are the kitties there? Oh, okay. You be easy with them, please. Thank you. So, so that's that. That's kind of what's going on. And I hope the weather holds out so I can get her down there too. I'll do what I got to do. If I have to reschedule, I will. But I know that that particular place rescheduling's a whole thing, but it's been prepaid, so that may make that a little easier. Okay, I don't know what else we need to talk about right now. I got to call G. I got to talk to my son a minute. Um, I don't know what else is going on. I'm filling a water. I'm filling a water bottle, and I don't have my little green funnel in my close by. There we go. Oh, my pants are so freaking dirty right now. I just looked down. That the water jug I'm filling this out of must have been dirty on the bottom because my pants are real dirty. Okay, G, I'll do that. He asked me some question that came across as a message quick, but I had just started the live, so. Mm. I am so grateful for my shower. Oh, good Lord. And having the shower house set up. So the shower stall itself is big. It's, I know it's 4 feet one direction, and I think it's 4.5 or 5 feet the other way. It's big. But how nice. And with the foot pump, you're not limited like by a bag of shower water that's only like 3 gallons or something. So it's nice. You could take a long one if you want to. I'm still careful with my water. Um, but the other thing is because I've got it set up the way I do. So the nice big shower stall on one side, then that double wall, that stainless double bowl RV sink that I have. It's a very narrow sink, but whatever. It's stainless, it works. That's kind of in the center, right in front of the doorway. And then on the left of the sink, there's an area where I've got the 2 cat beds, and they're sleeping in them already. And on top of the cat beds, which are in milk crates, um, I put a board for now. Um, it's gonna get a shelf will get built there, a sturdier, prettier, better, whatever. Um, that's where I'm gonna put a Latino, I don't know it, Central American wash machine is gonna go in there. And the plans are for the Rock Pals, if it's still running, to go in there to run that washing machine with. So that'll be on that side. And then in the corner to the left of the sink is the big air dehydrator, which right now has got onions and squash in it. Well, in the bottom section, for a minute, I put the clean dishes in it because the dirt doesn't get in. So that's becoming really so nice to just run out there and wash dishes. And for the moment, use a 5 gallon bucket and wash laundry and get it hanging out. And it's so freaking nice to be able to just go do a few processes and it not taking moving 12 things to get to one, or y'all know how hard that is if you ever lived in a car or whatever. That just the annoyance of I got to move 12 things, or I put such and such in the bucket and I need the bucket for washing the clothes, and I can't do the sink is full of tools because I was doing that. To just have them working, it's like I can just go wash a dish, wash my face, brush my teeth, take a shower. Yes. And I have a place. Now, I don't have the shower curtain up yet, but soon. But I have a place where I can get in and I can change clothes, or I can take the toilet bucket in there for now. Soon, I'm waiting for the guy at the dump to call me about plastic barrels for my batch composting toilet system. That's what I'm waiting on. So it's just so nice. Ideas about batteries. Okay, I see that. What is this? Let me go back up. Call your son. I'm here. The friend that you sent to us at the shop, the red F-250 door, I have it up and running. Just gotta look at why the rear tank isn't functioning and get the gauge to read. Okay. Who did I send to you with a red four-door truck? I tell people about you all the time. I don't know who has that. You have ideas about batteries, so talk to you about batteries. Okay. Purina's, this is Beth. Purina's The Purple Leash Project enables pets to remain with their families in shelters. Red Rover org also. They're domestic violence focused, but it helps find pet friendly shelters. Wonderful. Like to know your battery setup. I think he's talking to G. Let me know when you talk to the guy from the dump. I'd like to pick up a couple of cans myself. Okay. I talked to John at the dump Tuesday this past week, I think it was, and he just was sold out for the moment. He has a couple of really cool, nice little jugs in the office. But I didn't have an extra $25 and no reason to buy that cool little cute little jug, but whatever. Okay. After I closed my 5-acre dog rescue and moved, keeping the last few fur babies, tornadoes devastated that property. So, in all those years, no dogs were hurt by tornadoes, and now my last 5 are safe. That's lovely, Ken. Wow, you must be a cool guy if you had a 5-acre dog rescue. Wow. Thank you for working with I have a soft spot for pets, dogs. But you guys, some of you guys heard the story about how there was a story my mom used to tell about the dog raising me kind of thing, and the collie when I was a baby, whatever. So, oh, that's so sweet. A can, okay. Jeremy. Well, I'm looking at picking up a can or two. I dropped my aluminum recycle off with him at his home. I can pick up something that work. I can pick up something that work for you. Okay, cool, cool. Um, yeah, I'll be talking to him again. So G is answering that he has 6 100 amp hour batteries, and he's changing this out with 200 amp hour batteries and adding more. Okay. G's a power hog. No offense, G. It's just a term. I just, I never got it like that. I figure if I keep things kind of low tech and I manage what I can, it works. It'll be kind of nice when we get a couple of house batteries at the cabin. And when Tiny has a chance to come this direction, he has some more solar panels for me that go on the back patio roof. That's going to give me so much power, I won't even know what to do with it. So, but it also provides more shade and stuff like that. And it might allow me to, I don't want to do electric things, but it might allow me to, if I needed to, wanted to use an electric something to cook with. Just anything that makes heat uses so many watts of power, it's not worth it. So yeah, I yeah, I understand that, G. I and I don't mean anything negative by my comment because of your CPAP and air machine. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, guys, 2 hours. I'm done. Have I answered questions well enough today? I have, oh, I don't know why I'm crushing this bottle. I should keep this one. I'm going to start filtering my water from the IBC tote through my drinking water filter. I don't have a new Camco RV inline filter. I usually put one of those on my IBC totes, but the only one I've got is old, and so I'm going to throw that out. I need to buy a new one, but I've got my Sawyer water filter that's a gravity feed that I travel with. I'm going to go ahead and run some drinking water through that probably this afternoon, because I don't want hot drinks anymore. and um, and because I don't want to go to town, I'm trying to save gas money for the trip with Wendy. And I'm probably going to have to buy groceries one more time. So I may have to make do with what I've got for food for this week and just plan that well. That's all. So, all right, y'all have a wonderful week. Pray for each other. Hang in there. Just remember that we know it's not the fault of anybody when they choose an alternative lifestyle, but get real about what you've chosen and take your personal responsibility seriously, and then learn enough to do the maintenance and keep your health good so that you can continue for a long time, so you can be successful. Y'all, bye-bye, Mary. I hope you're having fun over there in New Mexico. I hope you're safe. Y'all have a great week. We will see you same bat time, same bat channel next week. Ciao.